Good morning, everyone. Today's video is about needing versus liking the approval of others in our decision making in life and business. And the reason this topic is important is because lately the series that I've been doing is about self-esteem and self-worth and decision making in business and life based on how we feel about what we can do and what we think will make us happy. Now, there's a lot of people who rely on the permission of others before they do anything in their lives, and including making decisions about what to do next. And I think it's important that we address this issue because it's particularly prevalent among people who are desirous of keeping the peace and going along to get along and putting themselves second and doing for others, and people who consider themselves problem solvers maybe, but for other people, like their family or a group or society or things of that nature. And there is a fundamental thought process that says, hey, if you're not the troublemaker, then you're the peacemaker, or it's not a problem till you make it one, or doesn't matter that much, just go along with it. Just keep the peace. So there is a strong desire to avoid conflict and go with the majority decision. And I think that that's a very noble trait and a very admirable point of view when you're trying to resolve a conflict, or when a compromise is necessary, or trying to make peace with warring factions, or you're trying to deal with, things that are beyond just your individual realm of control. But let's say that we're just talking about your own life and what makes you happy. Now, who is in charge of deciding what that is? Guess who? That's it, you. Now, that doesn't mean that you do everything without regard for the others around you, okay? I mean, you don't drive like a maniac through traffic and ignore all the rules of the road, and you don't just run off and leave your child in the middle of the supermarket to fend for itself. There's things that we do by choice that involve the feelings of others because we care about them, or as we enter into a role in society so that we can get along as a community. But I'm not talking about groups, and I'm not talking about parenting children. I'm talking about deciding for yourself what makes you happy. And if you need, not just enjoy, but if you need the approval of others in order to make decisions in your life about what you're going to do for yourself, then you may have lost the ability to actually know how you feel about a subject, or you may be putting it aside. You may know how you feel and then constantly deferring your needs in favor of someone else's. And the thing is, while that's good sometimes, it's not good all the time. Simply because, why is everybody else's happiness more important than yours? I mean, that's a question you really want to ask yourself. And what good are you doing to the world to kind of raise the happiness level of the world in general if you're always putting everybody else's happiness above yours? You count as a person. Your happiness is part of the whole. And if we're all, let's say, interconnected beings, let's say we're all spirits, we're all part of God, we're all connected in some way that maybe we can't even understand yet. If you are in a place where you're never happy, doesn't that sort of lower the general quotient, happiness quotient of the whole world? And why is it that it's a zero-sum game where if you're happy, then someone else has to be unhappy? Isn't there enough to go around? So what I'm suggesting here is that if you want to do something that maybe somebody else doesn't want you to do, it's not necessarily their call. It's your call about how you go through your life. And if you guys are going to fight, let's say you're in a relationship, somebody wants you to do something, or you want somebody else to do something, and they don't want to do it, and they've expressed that to you, and you continue to force your will upon them, or they continue to force their will upon you. How does that make you feel? When they do it to you, do you feel bullied? Do you feel pressured? Do you feel manipulated? Do you feel controlled? Or if you're doing it to them, Do you feel like they're a pushover, or that you got this one in the bag because that one's going to cave? I mean, are these things that you think are fair, both to yourself and to others? I mean, if everybody has the right to kind of go through their lives as an independent person, making decisions for themselves and seeking their own happiness, again, not in a really totally selfish way, like conquering and raping and pillaging. I'm not getting that. I'm just talking about walking the earth, making decisions, pursuing things that interest you, doing things that you want to do, whether it's eating the food that you want to eat, or going to the gym when you want to go, or getting home a little later than somebody wants you to be there. These are petty little things that can sometimes cause a lot of problems in relationships and in working relationships and businesses. I mean, yes, we make agreements, and it's good to keep your agreements. So if you say you're going to be there at 5, you should be there at 5. If you say you're going to have a project done by a certain date, you should have it done by that date. If you find before you get there, however, that this is not working, or that you can't make that date, or that you want to change the agenda, or you want to change the schedule, it's up to you to speak up and renew that agreement. But if you're just working on your own and you want to go back to college and somebody says, "Oh, I don't think that's good. I don't want you to do that." Or you want to try out a business idea that interests you. "Oh, honey, I don't think so." I mean, are you just going to buy into that, or are you going to maybe give it a shot if it's something that you really want? But, if it's somebody's opinion that matters to you, I mean, listen to them and see what they have to say. Maybe they have good advice. Maybe they have, a little more skill in how to budget it. Maybe they're not very supportive and you're not going to ever get their support. Okay, that's what non-supportive means. Does that mean that you never go forward? Does that mean that you never try? Does that mean that you never explore the things that interest you? I mean, life is not a fixed point in time. We decide, oh, this is how it's going to be for the rest of our lives, and this is the personality that I'm going to have, and these are my roles and jobs and duties for the rest of my life. I mean, that would be okay for some people, and if that's what you want, then walk that path and do it in joy and love and happiness. But if you are not feeling joyful and happy and fulfilled in that particular box or path or choice that you made before, then make an adjustment and correct your course, because you're the only one sailing this boat. And while not everyone is always going to like it, there are ways that you can still move forward without needing them to agree or needing them to approve. So many of us will just stop. If we don't get an overwhelming roar of success, we will just not go forward. And that is one of the biggest reasons that people don't pursue their dreams or don't try. I mean, maybe when you were young, you wanted to be an actor or a ballerina or, a football star or something. And if no one ever let you pursue your dreams because they felt it was too risky, or they had assessed that you weren't talented enough, or they put in your head that you couldn't do it, or it wasn't a worthwhile pursuit, you may have for the rest of your life the idea that, gee, I wonder what if I'd only tried that. If I'd only, maybe I could have made it. And you don't want to necessarily have all those thoughts, because those are the basis of regrets. Which isn't to say that, you're 50 years old and you go run off and you try to walk onto a college football team just because you enrolled and now you're a freshman. Okay, I mean, there's some practicalities to these things, but you might be the best 50-year-old starting quarterback that ever lived, and if you don't check it out, maybe you'll never know. But the point is, if you need someone to allow you to go after your dreams, if you need someone to support you in everything that you do, and you can't support yourself, then you're kind of destined to maybe do nothing, because trying to get a majority on what we want in our lives is probably not going to happen too often. And in relationships and life, if you can just agree to disagree, he's going to be his way, she's going to be her way. You each have your own points of view, and you don't have to agree on everything in order for you to be happy, but you don't have to fight about it and make somebody bend to your will. You don't have to have controversy, and you also don't have to have overwhelming approval. You can just say, okay, I get it. You don't support my yoga classes twice a week. Okay, I get it. You don't want me to practice law anymore. Okay, whatever it is, But if it's what you want, think about that and just make your own choice. Don't need someone's approval. Love it, enjoy it. Standing ovation is a wondrous thing. We want people to like us, but we don't need it. If you expect some controversy, then you can move forward despite it. And you don't have to react to it. Just make a choice. Somebody says something you don't like, it's just their opinion. Wow, that's interesting. And then walk away. You don't have to defend it. You don't have to convince them. That's the point today. All right, Lily out. Till next time.